Hello everyone. Well, we are well and truly into the Christmas season. And so from all the leaders and their spouses, we really do wish you a very Merry Christmas. Even without COVID, life can have seasons that can be quite gloomy and frustrating. However, 2020 has taken that to a whole new level, and it seemed that there was a large dark cloud looming over us all. We read in Genesis that the earth was formless and empty, and darkness was over the surface of the deep. And God said, "Let there be light." Yes, in the very next sentence, after disorder and darkness, there was light. Don't forget that this light never came from the sun or stars. This was still only day one. They were not created until the fourth day. This light came when God spoke. God spoke into the darkness, and there was light. Down through the centuries, because of sin and senselessness, darkness would often creep back into the life of the Jews. And the people would often find themselves groping around in the darkness. Isaiah was all too aware that the northern kingdom were in imminent danger. The Assyrians were about to invade, and it would seem that the monarchy and political leaders were oblivious to the plight of the people. And they will look to the earth, but behold, distress and darkness, the gloom of anguish. They will be thrust out to deep darkness. But hey, no worries. Isaiah had this to say in the very next chapter. But there will be no gloom for those who are in anguish. In the former time, he brought into contempt the land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, but in the latter times he has made glorious the way of the sea. Later on in Isaiah, he says that it was as if the people were groping along the wall like blind men. And we grope as if we had no eyes. We stumbled at noonday, like as if it were night time. We were like dead men in desolate places. But again, and just like in Genesis, in the very next chapter, God speaks light into the darkness. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Nations will come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your dawn. After Jesus heard about the death of John the Baptist, he withdrew to Galilee in the north. Matthew was on it like a shot. The land of Zebulun and the land of Naphtali, the way of the sea beyond the Jordan, Galilee of the Gentiles. The people dwelling in darkness have seen a great light. For those dwelling in the region of the shadow of death, on them a light has dawned. Whenever Jesus comes into our town, whenever he steps into our lives, whenever he speaks light and he speaks life. David prays, "You, Lord, are my lamp. The Lord turns my darkness into light. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear?" The Bible says that the God of this world, the devil, has blinded the eyes of unbelievers. The people around you and me are living in darkness. But again, Paul says, don't despair. For God, who said, "Let light shine out of darkness," has shone in our hearts to give the light of the knowledge of the glory of God in the face of Jesus. Try and get your head around this. The same light that God spoke in the first day of creation is in you and in me. Paul says, "And since we have the same spirit of faith, according to what has been written, I believed and therefore I have spoke. We also believe, and therefore we also speak." God's creative word to produce light was spoke with words of faith, and because we have faith, we can speak light into the darkness. Let there be light. Isaiah says, "The Gentiles shall come to your light, and kings to the brightness of your rising." Jesus says, "You are the light of the world." Charles Dickens wrote that it was the best of times, and it was the worst of times. It was the age of wisdom, it was the age of foolishness, it was the epoch of belief, it was the epoch of incredulity. It was the season of light. It was the season of darkness. It was the spring of hope. It was the winter of despair. Paul says the aroma of Christ contends with the stench of death. And when we enter the mortuary of this world, we diffuse the smell with the fragrance of the presence of his light. Paul reminds us that you who were once in darkness, but you are now in the light of the Lord. Christmas is a story of Christ breaking into our dark world and into our dark lives. He is the light of the world. He delights in bringing order out of chaos. He specialises in speaking light into darkness. Zoom all the way past through the Old Testament and past the New Testament, and then add another 2020 years. The year of COVID, the year of lockdown, the year when darkness overshadowed the earth. And God said, let there be light. We also believe and we also speak, let there be light. The people living in darkness have seen a great light. On those living in the land of the shadow of death, a light has dawned. Merry Christmas, everyone. Take care and God bless.